This video is brought to you by CoolStuffInc.com, the best online retailer for Magic the Gathering singles and sealed product, and GatheringMagic.com, the #1 source for Magic the Gathering news and content.
Hi, my name is Shaun, and this is my commander, Bruna, Light of Alabaster. Alright everybody, this is Bruna, Light of Alabaster, and she is a 6 cost, 3 white and blue, Flying Vigilance Angel, and whenever Bruna, Light of Alabaster attacks or blocks, you may attach to it any number of auras on the battlefield, and you may put onto the battlefield attached to it any number of aura cards that could enchant it from your graveyard and or hand. And she is a 5/5. So Bruna's a pretty linear build, at least when I built it the first time. My whole theme with Bruna was I was going to traumatize myself and tunnel vision myself to get the cards that I needed so that I could attack. And the deck quickly became uninteresting to me, and it kind of ended up taking a back seat for a while. And with the release of Theros and with some of the newer stuff that's come out recently, I decided to give it another chance. So I rebuilt the deck, redesigned it a little bit, and I've also, I guess the big thing is if you don't like playing against blue players, this deck is all the things that you can hate about blue. So anyway, we'll go ahead and get into the 99 here and see, and I'll show you what I built. All right, so we got Bruna, got some plains and some islands. It's already a problem for some people who are watching the video. So there's 9 plains, 9 islands. Color fixing. We got command tower, reflecting pool, Temple of Enlightenment. Let's just scry. Mystic Gate is color fixing again. Skycloud Expanse, cheap color fixing. It's about $2 card there. Adarkar Wastes, another cheap, just pretty card. I think it's pretty, whatever. Glacial Fortress. These are some of my favorite lands here from the M10, M11. I think it was M11. Anyway, Hallowed Fountain. Tranquil Cove. This one's from Cons, and it lets us gain a life. And this one is from Zendikar, and it also allows us to gain a life when it comes into play. Flooded Strand. Go find those islands and those, not mountains, plains. All right, Cavern of Souls. This is going to allow us to cast Bruna and keep it from being countered. So I probably just named blue as the color. Cards are going to fall down here. All right, Serra's Sanctum. A lot of enchantments in this deck, so we got Serra's Sanctum to get us some extra manas. All right, Sejiri Steppe. It's going to, when Sejiri Steppe enters the battlefield, target creature you control gains protection from the color of your choice until the end of the turn. So you could hold this till, I guess, before an attack and play it if somebody's trying to do something. I don't know. Whatever. Terramorphic Expanse, just a little land ramp package. Get stuff out. Get land out of our decks so that our deck works a little bit better. Rogue's Passage, make a creature unblockable, probably Bruna. Max hand size. I got a lot of card draw in here, so Let's have no maximum hand size. And Halimar Depths, just a nice little blue EDH staple. Look at the top 3 cards of your library and put them back in any order. And we got Winding Canyons, so we could cast a creature card as though it had flash. So we can get to use Bruna right away. And this is another, this one gives a creature haste. If you pay 3 life, you can add 1 color to one to your mana pool, and it'll give a creature haste. Hall of the Bandit Lord. Alright, so this is the first thing that I wanted to do to make the deck a little more dynamic. So I put some of these heroic cards in here. So we have Artisan of Forms. Whenever you cast a spell that targets Artisan of Forms, you may have Artisan of Forms become a copy of target creature and gain this ability. So if somebody's got a really nice creature across the board, we can go ahead and hook it up, or if we're looking for some extra card draw for some of our other creatures or something like that, we can turn this into a copy. So good. Kor Spiritdancer, it gets 2/2 for each aura attached to it, and whenever I cast an aura spell, I can draw a card. And this guy's going to let us dump 1/1 counters all over our creatures. So every time I cast a spell that targets it, then I can put a 1/1 counter on all my creatures. Sage of Hours, possible to take some extra turns with this guy. I think that I could potentially end up taking infinite turns, but I don't know how likely that'll end up happening or how often or whatever. Thassa, this is going to allow us to make a creature unblockable, and we're going to be able to scry 1 during our upkeep, so we can just keep setting up our decks, doing all the things that blue likes to do, and keep Bruna unblockable. Heliod's Pilgrim, so I can go search for an aura card and put it into my hand, and once Bruna attacks, the aura pops out of my hand and goes on to her. That's pretty good. Mesa Enchantress, whenever you cast an enchantment spell, you may draw a card. So lots of enchantments, like I said. Here's another heroic card. So whenever you cast a spell that targets Trident Fortune Hunter, draw a card. Alright, and we got Heliod. So this is going to give my creatures vigilance, and I can put little chump blockers into play. And it's also, they're 2/1 white cleric enchantments, so that'll work with Serra's Sanctum for adding some extra value there. Clever Impersonator, just copy whatever I need to copy. A non-land anyway. Ajani's Chosen, so whenever an enchantment enters the battlefield under your control, put a 2/2 white cat creature token onto the battlefield. If that enchantment is a aura, you may attach it to the token. This is one way that we can just kind of generate a bunch of creatures real quick if we need to. Teferi, the biggest bummer is I don't have a ley line of anticipation, but I've got a couple other cards in here that do similar things. Winding Canyons, Teferi, Velikan Orrery. I wish I had Leland in here, but I don't. But anyway, Teferi says creature cards you own that aren't in play have flash, and each opponent can play spells only anytime he or she could play a sorcery. So this is starting to get into the real blue player stuff, Azurius kind of stuff. I found this card kind of neat. I think it's a spec card for me. So whenever River Kelpie or another permanent is put into play from a graveyard, draw a card. And whenever a spell is played from a graveyard, draw a card. So a lot of, every time Bruna attacks, all my enchantments come out of my graveyard, and that's going to potentially draw me a bunch of cards if River Kelpie's in play. And the other thing is, too, is we had the Phalanx, whatever his name was, and basically we could put a 1/1 counter on it, erase the -1/-1 counter, and just kind of keep using River Kelpie as like a chump blocker. So that's pretty good. And draw lots of cards. Another way to put 1/1 counters on my creatures is whenever I cast an enchantment spell, put a 1/1 counter on each creature you control. All right. Sovereigns of Lost Alara. Lara is like one of my favorite blocks, and so whenever a creature you control attacks alone, you may search your library for an aura card that could enchant that creature, put it into play attached to that creature, then shuffle your library. So it'll allow us to get our enchantments out into play and start using them. Land tax, we need a little bit of, we need some land motion in this deck and everything like that, so land tax is going to help us get lands in our hand. Copy enchantment, it does what it says. It makes a copy of an enchantment. Sigil of the Empty Throne, every time I cast an enchantment, I can put a 4/4 white angel creature token with flying into the battlefield. That's pretty good. Alright, here we go under our enchantments. So we've got Ethereal Armor. So enchanted creature gets 1/1 for each enchantment you control and has first strike. Hyena Umbra. So this is going to give our creature 1/1 and first strike, and it has Totem Armor. So if enchanted creature would be destroyed, instead remove all damage from it and destroy this aura. So it's a nice way to protect Bruna or whatever other creature I'm using. Vanishing, so I can pay 2 blue and enchanted creature phases out. If somebody decides that they want to try and, I don't know, Cyclonic Rift or destroy Bruna or, I don't know, whatever they want to do, I could just phase her out and she'll come back before my untap step on my turn. So that's pretty good, and it makes it so that it looks like she doesn't exist on the board while that's working. For those not familiar with phasing, just go read the rules. Aqueous Form, enchanted creature can't be blocked, and whenever an enchanted creature attacks, scry 1. So more set up our deck. Flickering Ward. So I got a couple cards in here that do this here. So when you play Flickering Ward, choose a color. Enchanted creature gains protection from the chosen color. And then you can return Flickering Ward to your hand if you play 1 white. So potentially with those cards that put the 1/1 counters, or the heroic cards that when you target it you can draw a card, you can just keep targeting with this and draw more cards or put 1/1 counters on stuff or whatever you need to do. So it's a good way to kind of get more use out of the deck. Shimmering Wings, same thing with flying. We have Hallowed Umbra, so it's another Totem Armor, and this one gives us like Flink, and then I can attach it. I can pay 1 and a white and attach it to a target creature I control. Eel Umbra, again, it's another Totem Armor. This one has Flash though, so this is like a Commander cast staple for a while, and it's kind of a neat card. If your creature is about to die or something like that, you cast this real quick and you can save it for, I don't know, 1 turn. Boy, all right. This is another thing like Shimmering Wings, Conviction. Enchanted creature gets 1/3. So, all right, Vow of Flight. So I can use these on other creatures to keep them from attacking me. And then when I'm really ready to start using Bruna, I can just, when she attacks or blocks, I can pull them from those creatures and put it on her. Vow of Duty, same idea. Pentarch Word, I could choose a color and it gives protection from that color, and it allows me to draw a card when it comes into play. So more card draw. Unquestioned Authority, protection from creatures, and I get to draw a card when it comes into play. Penman's Aura, so this does a lot of different stuff. The big thing is like I can pay a blue down here, and enchanted creature can't be the target of spells or abilities this turn, so I can protect Bruna if I need to. And Steel the Godhead, yeah, it's kind of a staple for these colors. So it gets Bruna would get 1/1 and lifelink, and it would also get 1/1 and unblockable. Battle Mastery, enchanted creature has double strike. Pretty straightforward. Zephid's Embrace, target creature gets, the enchanted creature gets 2/2 and gains flying and can't be the target of spells or abilities. More protection. Here's some card draw, and then enchanted creature gets 1/1 for each card in its controller's hand. We should have lots of cards. Spectre Ward, this is a new one from M15 that's pretty good for Bruna. An enchanted creature gets 2/2 and has protection from all colors. This effect doesn't remove auras, so that's really good. We can really equip Bruna up and make her super protected. All right, Eldrazi Conscription. I think this is probably a Bruna staple here. Enchanted creature gets 10/10. And has Trample and Annihilator too, so it just makes her a boss. Got another little mana ramper here, so Soul Ring, add 2 to your mana pool. Cloudstone Curio is, I put it in this deck, so whenever a non-artifact permanent comes into play under your control, you may return another permanent you control that shares a permanent type with it to its owner's hand. So I can use some of those cheap costing auras to bounce my enchantments back to my hand and then play them again to get card draw or search out stuff or whatever. So it's pretty good. And we got Veldikin Orrery. I'll probably just end up replacing this with Leyline of Anticipation, or I'll run it side by side. But you may play non-land cards anytime you can play an instant. So I want to be playing stuff on my opponent's turns as much as possible. Read the Ruins. So we're in our instance now. I can draw X cards. For each card drawn this way, discard a card from your hand unless you sacrifice a permanent. With Bruna's ability, I could just sacrifice a bunch of enchantments and discard enchantments, and then just attack with her, and everything comes right back out of the graveyard. So this is a really nice draw spell for this deck. Scout's Warning, the next creature card you play this turn can be played as though it had flash, and then draw a card. So I could play it, when somebody attacks me, and I could flash in Bruna and then block, and then all the stuff comes out of my graveyard and attaches to it. Or at the end of my opponent's turn, and it draws me a card. All right, Enlightened Tutor. So you can search your library for an artifact or enchantment card and put it back on top after you shuffle your library. So we are just setting everything up for the big win, for the W. This deck is kind of about the W more than janky fun. Mystical Tutor, search your library for an instant or a sorcery and do the same thing as Enlightened Tutor, whatever. Cyclonic Rift. This is a wing card for blue and for commander. So return each non-land permanent you don't control to its owner's hand. I always cast it for its overload. All right, Perilous Research. So this is pay 2, and I can draw 2 cards, then sacrifice a permanent. So I thought this was like maybe something that I could hold on to, and then if somebody was trying to tuck Bruna, I could draw 2 cards and then sacrifice her. Or if I drew into, I don't know what else I would do. But anyway, there's Perilous Research. Intuition. Search your library for any 3 cards, reveal them, and to target opponent. He or she chooses one, put that card into your hand, and the rest into your graveyard. Shuffle your library afterwards. So it doesn't really matter with Bruna. I'll just search out 3 enchantments. Hinder, counter a spell, and then I could put it on top or bottom of the library. It's probably going to the bottom. Counter spells. Another counter spell that's going to let me put it on the bottom of the library. Cryptic Command. Pretty popular card. Shouldn't really have to say what it does. Force of Will, another pretty popular card. Everybody should know what it does. Aether Spouts. So for each attacking creature, its owner puts it on top or bottom of his or her library. So it's kind of some like quick defense. Save of the moment. Save of the moment. Take an extra turn after this one. Skip the untap step of that turn. So Bruna has Vigilance, so it's kind of like a way to get in some more damage. It's like taking an extra attack. Idyllic Tutor. I can search your library for an enchantment card, reveal it, put it in your hand, and shuffle your library. We got some board wipes here. So Supreme Verdict can't be countered. Destroy all creatures. This card is like drinking responsibly, only with only with a really bad card. Anyway, so anybody that's not familiar with Cataclysm, each player chooses from the permanents he or she controls an artifact, a creature, an enchantment, and a land, and sacrifices the rest. So if you're going to play this card, make sure that you're going for the win. Like, it should be at the end of the game, and it's down to you and maybe one or two other people. Then you Cataclysm. Not at the beginning of the game or in the middle of the game and make everybody play another hour. Winds of Wraith. So destroy all creatures with no enchantments on them. Those creatures can't be regenerated this turn. It's just a nice little board wipe and is specific to this deck. 3 Dreams. It's going to allow me to go find 3 auras that I want and use them. Austere Command. Just another board wipe. Everybody should be familiar with it. If you're not, just look up the Oracle text on it. And Jace Beleren is my last card in this deck. And each it's really this last mechanic is why he's still in the deck. I like being able to make everybody draw cards, and then at I can -10, and I'm actually doing this to myself. I want to -10 myself. But if somebody attacks me and they see he's close to 10, they'll probably end up doing damage to him, which might protect me for another turn. So he's kind of a decoy. Anyway, that's my deck. Thank you.
Thanks for watching my video. Please subscribe and favorite CMDR decks.